What's up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. Gonna be working on the toolbox again today. So here we have it all stripped of paint and rust. In the last episode we showed getting to this point from original, so if you haven't seen that yet, go check it out. Check out the first part. Ended off sandblasting and getting the hinge off. So in this one we're going to be finishing it up. So to start out, first thing we're going to be getting at is straightening up these edges. So you can see it's kind of wavy from where the hinges were attached on all of these. Well, it's on the back there. We're just going to be straightening this up so we can get it ready to put our sides on. Then once we get our sides on, we'll get the hinge attached, prime, paint. So looking forward to getting this thing done. It's going to be exciting getting there, so stick around. Alright guys, I just want to take a second to talk about this next clip. I just noticed it as I'm editing that the video locked up somehow. It only shows the bench vise that I'm working on. And it's just like a picture staying there. The audio works fine on it, but I'll just show the first few seconds of this clip because no one wants to look at a bench vise for 5 minutes. But all I'm doing here is taking a hammer on the lid and the body of it and beating out the waves, trying to make it a little bit straighter. But I'll roll the first few seconds of it. But I'm sorry about this. I'm not sure what happened. I think everything else, all the other video clips worked fine, but this one just had an issue. So take a look. So now I'm just going to try to take the edge of it with my hammer and just work it down the edge of this. So now we look down it, you can see it's not too bad, still a little jaggedy, but not near as bad as it was. I think that'll be fine for what we're looking for. Now we'll just do the same basic thing to the hull of it, see if we can get that straight as well. Alright, so there we go there. So it's not too bad. It should work just fine for what we're trying to get at. And this front one as well. So now what we're going to do is going to take some sheet metal and bend it up for the ends. So here I have my sheet metal here. And it's a little bit heavier gauge, but it'll work just fine. That doesn't need to be perfect. So I'm just going to take this old plate and lay it on top of it. So I'll be able to get my height measurement from it. Get it close anyways. And then now what I'm going to do is just take a marker. Give me a line up top. And then from there, I am, see, find a decent edge. So I'm just going to run this down, and I'll square it up later before I cut. So just run this down to get a decent edge on it. And then now from the top, I'm going to take about, let me see. So I'm calculating like the sides, what I'm going to use as my bends. So I'm thinking about 3/4 of an inch for each one for the tab inside and to compensate for what's bending. So I'm just going to go with about 1.5 inches more, and I'll be able to trim off any excess that I don't want. So now let me grab a square real quick. This guy will work. So now what I'm going to do is just try to square up this the best I can. And I mean, I'm not gonna be able to cut this straight anyways. So that'll give me a close enough guide. And then I'll be able to go from there. So we're just gonna call this main piece right here, we're just gonna call that 3 inches. So I'll know that. So now I'm going to cut this and then one again for the other side. And that was much easier than the shears. A lot cleaner too. So now I'll just lay this out, mark over it again, and I'll be ready to start bending it. So now I'm going to bend this, and I already bent one side just to make sure it would work, but this is how I did it. So I'm just taking this vise, and if you have a good vise, you'll have flat plates right here, so you won't necessarily need to use something else. You'll just be able to set the material in it. So I'm going to be bending it this way. So you can see I have marks. You can barely see. I got some marks on it where I need to bend it at. So I'm going to take this long one and put it in the front, and then the short one's going to be in the back. I'm just going to sandwich this metal between it. So I just want to try to get it close, lined up here, and make sure your back is being covered. So that looks like a pretty good line. I'm just going to try to set it down in here. Yeah, it moved some. So just tighten it a little bit, and then see if we can get this metal to work up. So just take your time getting this stuff lined up, because once you bend it, it's bent and you're not going to be able to change it. So just take your time and get it right. There we go. So now I'm going to just tighten this down real good. Now what I'm going to do is start off, if you just have a regular vise or you have metal blocks or something here, like this doesn't have anything, you could probably try to heat this up just to make the bend easier. But since I have wood here, I'm not going to try that. So I'm just going to use my hands. So now, because this is tight, that's going to be your bending point. So I'm just going to use my hands and work it down. Try to work it down evenly and trying to put pressure along the back side of it, not too much on the top, because we don't want the bend to be, you know, more up here, because if you put pressure on the top, your bend is going to move up in the metal. So I just want to try to keep pressure down low, make that where the bend is. And once you get it down, you can take a hammer, really any kind of hammer, and just apply pressure to the top and then just beat on the back side. And now because this wood's in the way, it's a little bit more difficult. So now you can bend it to your desired angle, which I'm going to get it about as close as I can on here. So we'll take that off and look at it. So that's the angle we just did. You can still see it's pretty flat. So now you can test fit it. Then what I'm probably going to do is I'm just going to take it and use, because this is a metal bench, and just use the corner of this to kind of straighten out and kind of 90 this bend a little bit more, because it's still a little bit up. So I'm going to do that, and then I'll show you the test fit. So I got the other side done, and here is our fitment. So these worked out really nicely. Fit right in there. I'll just have to clean up the top a little bit. It's a little bit too tall. But yeah, I mean, it fits great. Looks really good. I'm really happy with how it turned out. So now, next thing I'm going to do is drill some holes in both of these. I'll leave them clamped up, drill some holes in them. So I have this end cap clamped down at the top. Just it'll hold it in place as I go to drill it. So now I'm just going to use 3 holes on here to hold it together. So I have one at the bottom, I'll put one in the middle, and then one up top. The one up top, I will have it go through the hole of this, the end cap, and then the piano hinge as it runs across. So that'll be my last hole that I'll drill. I'll get these other ones done, and then we'll line up the piano hinge, and then we'll just remove this clamp so we'll be able to get to it. And there's my first hole. So now I'm just going to go and do the rest of them. So I'll catch you back up when I am all done with my holes. Now I have all the holes in it. So for the lid and the body of it, got all of them in that side. Now what I'm going to do is clean this up and then hit all of it with a coat of primer. Then I have the end pieces up here drilled and ready to go. So I'm going to wipe it all off. I actually have a coat of WD-40 on this as it was sitting overnight. So I'm going to take some brake clean, spray that off, then wipe it down with some mineral spirits just to get everything off of it, and then hit it with a coat of primer and let that dry, and then go for our final coat of paint tomorrow. And I got some of this. So going back with red, I just want to kind of go back to the original color and do the most I can to keep it original looking anyways. But that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to hit some primer. So first I'm just going to do the inside of this one, and then I'll hang it up to do the outside. So now to continue, I don't know if anyone else has issues, but these tips on Rust-Oleum cans, I've just had an issue with them stop working after a while. So I mean, there's still paint and sometimes mix around caps and it works, but I'm just having trouble with it. So I'm going to finish off here. right, that should be good. Now we'll let it dry and then go over it with our red paint. The primer is now dry, and it is time to start mixing our paint for our final red coat on it. So these are looking really good, and looking forward to get this final coat on it. So I'm going to be using a spray gun for the first time. So I'm going to try my best at mixing this paint right and getting it sprayed right. So we'll see what happens. All right, let's give this a shot. So we have our beautiful red color. This is Rust-Oleum's Gloss Safety Red. So let's see if we can get it right the first time. And this is going to be way too much paint, but you know what? That's okay. Now let's stir this up. You know what? I think that looks okay. Not exactly sure what it's all supposed to look like, but we'll give this one a shot. Alrighty. Now I know this will probably be way too much for what we're doing, but it'll give me some to play with afterwards. Alright, so I think I got everything ready to go. Now let's give this a shot, see how it turns out. So just like priming it, I'm going to start on the inside of this. Well guys, I think that was a success. It looks really good. Really good. Wow, so this thing's pretty awesome. I am a huge fan of it. So we'll let this dry and see how it turns out. It has been a few days since we painted, so our paint is now dry, and I cannot begin to express how pleased I am with how this turned out. So with it being my first time ever using a spray gun, first time ever mixing paint, it just turned out fantastic. I am so thrilled with it. It looks great. The only thing I had to do was on the end, like down inside here on both sides, and then in that little notch I had to take and use a brush, a small brush, to touch up in there, because the paint, just the angle, it didn't really work right. So it looks fantastic, and now we can start putting it back together. So this is the moment we've been waiting for. Now what I've done is mocked up where these rivets are going, just because it'll hold these side pieces in place. And I will probably start with the back bottommost one. Do that one first to hold them tight. And then I will put the hinge in and do the top, because I'm putting the hinge in between here. Then I'll be able to do the rest of the sides after that, then across the back on the hinge, and then the lid. So that's the plan, and hopefully it goes smoothly. And then we'll cut to the time lapse. So I ran into a little bit of an issue. When I fit the hinge, I wasn't paying attention and fitted on with the sides. So the hinge itself is hitting the top of this, and it threw my holes off. So I got this one to fit and re-drilled these to make it work. So now what I'm going to do is get this one in and the rest of these ones on the top done. And then that'll hold it in place so I can re-drill this hole. And then I should be good to go. Here it is. All the rivets are in. Had a few issues with the holes not lining up, but we drilled them out. It works. And you know, I wasn't sure what I would think about the unfinished rivets, you know, being silver on the red. But with this stainless steel hinge, I think they go really good together. So I got a few spots to touch up paint wise that I got with the drill bit, but I really like this look with the rivets. I think it's awesome. So happy with how it turned out. This was a really fun one to work on too. So it was difficult. Did a few things that I've never done before with the sandblaster and the spray gun, and I've actually never used rivets before either. So 3 new things, and I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. Just take one last look at it. So thanks for watching. A ton of fun. Hope you enjoyed it. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Stay tuned for more stuff. We have something on the trailer coming up, and I'm ready to get into that one. But for now, let's all enjoy this, and it'll be put to good use. So thanks for watching. We'll see you.